We will find out tonight who the president picks to serve on the nation's highest court. Coming up, we'll preview the short list of contenders.
And how future UW-Madison students might be impacted by President Trump's new policy of race-blind admissions.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It's Monday, July 9th, and we're starting with some good news today out of Thailand, where a fifth child from that kids' soccer team stuck in that cave for nearly 2 weeks now is out and headed to the hospital.
We're going to have any more updates as they become available. CBS This Morning's live there just after 7 o'clock. Let's switch gears now, though. Turn to Chris Reese, who is in for Hattie this morning. Good morning. Another hot forecast.
Good morning. It is another hot forecast. We are bringing the heat index back today. I don't even like saying it. Just doesn't even roll off my tongue anymore. Heat index comes back today. Now, here's a beautiful sunrise, though. So there's always something positive about your Monday. 69 degrees. Dew points do continue to increase. We're seeing dew points in the lower 60s, though. So those will keep going as we go through the day. Another Monday positive. A cold front is actually on the way. That's going to be bringing some cloud cover in later on towards midday. It also does, though, bring the chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Not everyone going to get in on that shower and thunderstorm activity, though. Just a few folks as that comes on in. 70s back to the north and west. It is actually warmer just in front of that cold front. That's why Minneapolis is at 73 right now. La Crosse at 71. As we get further to the south, Mineral Point is at 63 degrees. Same with Monroe right now. But all of these temperatures are a bit warmer than they were just 24 hours ago. So we will await the arrival of that cold front. We'll see highs right around 88 degrees with cloud cover this afternoon. Clearing skies tonight. Temperatures falling into the mid 60s by tomorrow morning. Here's a live look at your first alert traffic right now. Here's the belt line at Park Street. Things continue to run smoothly. You have a little bit of a glare from the camera there. The only real slowdown showing up near Stoughton Road. That is the normal for just about any day of rush hour across Dane County. All traffic does continue to run smoothly this morning. So no matter where you're headed into Madison, it's going to take you about your normal time. No slowdowns or delays.
I like that. Something positive to start out your Monday.
There's always something positive.
Yeah, that's a nice way to live your life.
Good news.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
We wanted to go back to Washington, D.C. right now, where the president will announce his pick to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the U.S. Supreme Court on primetime TV tonight. It's a decision that could shape the balance of the court for a generation. CBS News says there are 4 candidates to replace Justice Kennedy, all young conservatives who are all federal appellate court judges. That includes Thomas Hardiman, who is the runner-up to Neil Gorsuch for President Trump's first Supreme Court nomination. CBS is reporting Brett Kavanaugh, Raymond Kethledge, and Amy Coney Barrett are the other candidates. As of yesterday afternoon, the president said he had still not decided on who he was going to pick. We will carry the president's announcement on News 3 and on channel3000.com at 8 o'clock tonight. CBS This Morning will have the latest from Washington just after 7 o'clock this morning.
The president is changing what universities can consider when deciding what students are admitted.
Specifically, the administration does not want race to be a part of that process. Josh Spreiter is live on the UW-Madison campus this morning with how this might impact future Badgers. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. UW-Madison says it will still follow the law by choosing not to follow the Trump administration's new guidelines. Spokeswoman Meredith McGlone says UW-Madison takes into account grades, standardized test scores, recommendations, extracurricular activities, leadership, and written statements, as well as factors like race, ethnicity, and being in the first generation of a family to attend college. Last week, the Justice Department rescinded 7 Obama-era guidelines from the Education Department's Civil Rights Division. McGlone says the Trump administration's decision does not create any legal obligation to stop the limited use of race as part of the holistic admissions process. She says that even Secretary Betsy DeVos acknowledged that the Supreme Court determined what affirmative action policies are constitutional, and the court's written decisions are the best guide for navigating this complex issue. But of course, those Supreme Court decisions could change today, with President Trump set to pick his nominee for justice tonight. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll have more on what that could mean on the use of race and admissions here for UW-Madison.
Certainly a topic a lot of people continue to talk about. I've been talking about for a long time. Josh Spreiter reporting live on campus this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. A former presidential candidate is going to be in Janesville later this week. Senator Bernie Sanders will be campaigning for Democrat Randy Bryce, who's running to fill Speaker Paul Ryan's seat in Congress once he retires after this term. The two will host a canvass launch party in Janesville on Saturday afternoon. CNN recently released an article highlighting the number of times Bryce has been arrested, including a drunk driving arrest in Michigan back in 1998. Most of those arrests stem from that one incident. There's a deadline tonight to apply for a Dane County Board of Supervisors seat that covers part of Madison. George Gillis resigned from his 14th district seat last month after moving out of his southwest side neighborhood. People who still live in that area have until 4:30 tonight to submit nomination papers. Then they can talk about their qualifications at a public hearing tomorrow. The board's pick will only fill that seat temporarily, though, until the next spring election in April.
Dane County Sheriff's deputies are continuing to look this morning for a missing inmate. We're talking about 28-year-old Pedro Aviles Garcia. He walked away from the Dane County Jail where he was serving a sentence through the jail diversion program for drunk driving. Garcia is from Fitchburg, so sheriff's deputies believe he could be there. Anybody who has any information is asked to please call 911. In Rock County this morning, one person is dead and others in the hospital after a rollover crash in Milton. The Rock County Sheriff's Department says that single-car crash happened around 8:30 last night on the Highway 26 bypass at Highway 59. They say a 48-year-old man was driving a Chevy Tahoe when he hit a concrete guardrail, overcorrected, and then flipped the car. It landed on its roof. 47-year-old female passenger was thrown from the car. She died at the scene. The driver, meanwhile, is at Mercy Hospital in Janesville this morning in stable condition. That crash remains under investigation.
We have a first alert traffic note for you if you're in Rock County near Edgerton this morning. Crews there are building a new ramp off Highway 59 to get onto the interstate southbound going toward Janesville and Beloit. This is happening near Milton and Newville. For the next 3 weeks, that ramp is going to be closed. Drivers are being detoured to exit 160, so they'll have to turn around there to go south on the interstate. And back in Madison, expect some lane changes tonight on Verona Road. Starting at 8, one of the northbound lanes near Raymond Road will be closed until 5 Tuesday morning. Next week, crews will start work on a noise wall there from Williamsburg Way to Raymond.
It is 6:07 almost right now. There's an opportunity this week to help kids in our community right after they're born. We're going to talk about the community baby shower we're holding and why the need for basic baby supplies is really so high in our area.
And hopefully you've enjoyed the weekend weather because the heat is making a comeback to start out your work week. Chris Reese has your first alert forecast coming up on News 3 this morning.
Good morning. We've seen beautiful sunrises today. The sun now up, temperatures a lot warmer than this time yesterday, and that's due to winds that we do have coming at us out of the south and southwest this morning, moving in Madison at about 6 miles per hour at the airport there. We'll continue to see these warming temperatures as we go throughout the day. We're now about 8 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago for us here in Madison. That's where the temperature is 69. Yesterday at this time, we were at 61. Speaking of 61, the dew point has made it into the lower 60s as well, so it's going to start to feel a bit more muggy as we go throughout the day. All of us are in pretty much the 60s and 70s. A few places do remain into the upper 50s this morning. La Crosse is at 71 degrees. In fact, it's warmer back to the north and west along that warm front, but as we go through the day, winds will turn more southwesterly, especially into the early afternoon, but then by the evening, those winds come out of the north and west once we get a cold front to move on through the region. But before that cold front gets here, we are pumping in more heat and humidity. Those dew points going to be increasing thanks to that southwesterly wind tapping into the higher dew points that we have across the nation's midsection. We'll see dew points in the upper 60s approaching 70 into the afternoon and evening. So as you step outside today, it's going to be hot and the air is going to feel heavy and kind of soupy. Now, once we get you into the early afternoon, we'll notice cloud cover arriving from the north and west. That is a cold front coming through. I can't rule out the chance of a shower or a thunderstorm with this cold front, but the odds are against it. Nonetheless, a few of you may get in on some of the rain action. Once that cold front gets through, temperatures will fall into the mid 60s, but dew points will really begin to come down. That's the biggest change you are going to notice. This high pressure out of Canada moving in over the northern Great Lakes region as we go through the next couple of days. That's going to keep our weather fairly nice, but eventually those winds turning out of the south and southwest as we go through the next couple of days, and that's going to mean more heat and humidity coming back into the forecast. 66 to 81 degrees this morning. Lots of sunshine. It will be very mild. Will be partly sunny into the afternoon, topping out right around 88 degrees. And again, I can't rule out that potential for an isolated storm or two. By Tuesday, we do feel a lot better. Temperatures in the low 80s, dew points much lower, so it'll feel good. We keep those dew points low into Wednesday and Thursday as well, but by Thursday night into Friday, that's when the rain chances come on back, along with the heat and the humidity for the weekend. Now let's go to Josh Tim with your first alert traffic. Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Starting off the commute pretty quiet on the Beltline. No major issues to slow you down in either direction. As we look at roads here in Dane County, there are some brake lights already showing up on the northbound side of Rona Road near the Beltline, along with Stoughton Road near the Beltline ramps. No problems at all downtown around the Capitol and UW campus. Volume is not an issue at this point. And other main routes heading into the city are cruising along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic. I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, Chris. So anybody who has children, I have 3. I know it's a lot of work. It's very humbling indeed. Costs a lot of money as well, from diapers to formula to toys. It can add up really quickly.
News 3 happens to be partnering with a local nonprofit called Today Not Tomorrow to help ease the burden for parents here in Dane County. Jeannie Erickson is here to share more about how you can get involved in a community-wide baby shower to help. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to help families.
Tell us a little bit about why this need is so important. We were just talking, we're seeing an increase in this need.
We are seeing an increase in numbers of families who are calling Today Not Tomorrow Project Babies for assistance all over your viewing area. And it comes from changes in jobs, a cost of things being higher, unexpected things that are happening with the families. Certainly rents have gone way up, housing is an issue. So being able to provide some of these items and help with that gap a little bit in finances so they don't have to decide about if they're going to buy an extra piece of meat or how they're going to put diapers on the baby.
So we've had an opportunity to participate in this now a couple of years.
Yes,
is there a
many
moment?
years.
Is there a moment for you when you kind of had one of these? This is why this was so important.
Well, these items go to the community baby shower and to stock our baby closets.
Right.
And we have at least 5 throughout the area, including the Beacon Resource Center. And I think the moments that make that, okay, this is why we do it, is when you see, example, this weekend I delivered a double stroller to a family who I've been looking for one for quite a while. And the mom put her little 9-month-old in the front seat because it was the double, and he just started to squeal with absolute glee. And I thought, it was worth all the trouble trying to find that double stroller. Or to the mom that comes up and says, thank you so much for participating in the baby shower. It's those simple things, you know, the smile of a little one. We know it works.
What are some of the things that people can donate if they'd like to get involved?
Right now, Project Babies accepts anything and everything babies, but what we're really looking for this drive are going to be diapers, wipes, things that are going to be transitional in seasons and as far as clothing, because it will stock us through our shelves through the end of summer, fall, and into the fall baby shower. We also are in need of lactation supplies, which is new this year. With one of our collaborative partners, Harambe Village.
It's interesting. So people can drop off items at the community baby shower today through Friday.
Correct.
At Viridian Homes off the Beltline at Southtown Drive, or Associated Physicians on Regent Street at South Midvale, and all of the Viridian Home locations.
Correct. And also at Associated Physicians off on Regent, I think you said that.
Do you sense that people, I mean, I think anyone who's ever gone through this, you realize there's never enough diapers, there's never enough wipes. I mean, it's just that need continues no matter what.
It's ongoing. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about Project Babies is that we don't have guidelines, and we don't restrict requests to one time a month or one time a week. If you have a need, you have a need, and we're wanting to be able to fill that.
And we're hoping we can help as well. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. We're
My
going to have
pleasure.
guests pretty much throughout the day today, as well as an opportunity to kind of talk about this over the next few days. So
absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for what you do.
Thanks again. Well, a scooter startup is causing some drama in Milwaukee this morning. The city is suing the company over where folks are riding. We're going to tell you more about that problem coming up.
It's 6:17 right now. It's what I like to call a swimming pool forecast today. It's where the kids and I will be today, maybe Chris Reese too, after he shares a sticky first alert forecast coming up next on News 3 This Morning.
From a
Good morning, folks. It's a sunny Monday morning out there. We are tracking lots of sunshine, but we are also tracking more in the way of heat and humidity moving in for this work week. Here's a live look at Platteville right now. After they had yet another gorgeous sunrise, we're still looking at fair conditions out there. Same for us here in Madison. High cirrus clouds reflecting the sunlight this morning. The temperature right now sitting at 69 degrees. Dew points also into the low 60s. Winds out of the southwest at 6 this morning, and it's that southwesterly wind that is going to help us usher those temperatures into the upper 80s. Some folks could see 90-degree highs today, especially south and southwest of Madison, but that will come with the sky full of sunshine. We'll see that sunshine lingering all day long. There will be a round of cloud cover into the afternoon that has the potential to pop up an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but the sunshine is what most of us will see all day long. Adam.
Thank you very much, Chris. In business news this morning, City of Milwaukee is suing a scooter sharing business. The company is called Bird Rides Incorporated. It distributed 100 motorized scooters in Milwaukee last month. The electric scooters are activated by your smartphone. They can be left anywhere once a rider's done using one. According to the city's lawsuit, that company has been warned that riding the scooters in Milwaukee is illegal on sidewalks and in the streets. Scooters can be found throughout the city right now, but anybody caught riding one on a sidewalk or street could get a $100 ticket. The lawsuit claims the scooter company has refused to stop operating in Milwaukee. The city is now looking for a temporary injunction to have those scooters removed immediately.
We are just learning this morning that Starbucks will ban plastic straws from all of its stores over the next 2 years. The company will be the biggest worldwide food and beverage company to do so. Starbucks says it'll start using a strawless lid at 8,000 stores in the U.S. and Canada for its cold drinks, which make up half of the drinks sold there. The company estimates the switch will eliminate more than 1 billion plastic straws a year. The company's announcement comes just a week after its hometown, Seattle, banned single-use plastic straws at businesses inside that city. Rent prices in Madison are never cheap, and they're rising, up about 2% this month, according to an online agency that tracks that nationwide. A new survey says that's what the rest of the country is seeing, too. The real estate data firm Yardi Matrix reports the national average to rent an apartment is now at an all-time high of more than $1,400. That's up 3% from last year. Of the 250 biggest U.S. cities, 88% saw increased rent. Here in Madison, the average one-bedroom costs just over $1,000 a month. The firm's experts say an increase is a sign of a growing economy.
Construction on a popular 50s-style diner is coming into Madison's east side, and that's starting up this week. We're talking about Portillo's. It's building a new restaurant at Easttown Mall near the Red Lobster. That chain is known for its Chicago-style hot dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, chocolate cake shakes. The Madison Portillo's will be the company's third Wisconsin restaurant. The other two are in suburban Milwaukee. The restaurant's going to have seating for 200 people, a double-lane drive-through. It is expected to be open this winter.
Aren't you from Chicago?
I know,
I always terrible accent.
That's how we always talk there.
Oh my goodness.
That's how we talk there.
Yeah, okay.
6:23 right now. Josh Freiter's live on the UW campus this morning. Talking about President Trump's plans to change affirmative action for universities around the country. In about 10 minutes, he's going to share how that policy could affect future Badgers.
And some of the day's best news is on blue-green algae. We're finally seeing a break from the potentially toxic blooms taking over Madison's lakes this summer. No one is happier about that than Madison's ski team. We're going to check in on them after they had to cancel a bunch of practices because of the stuff. That's when News 3 This Morning returns. The president's pick for the next U.S. Supreme Court justice could impact future Badgers. We're going to check in on what UW-Madison is saying about President Trump's push for race-blind admissions.
And a judge will decide whether to prosecute a Beloit woman accused of neglecting her 8 kids after she had been reported to Child Protective Services more than 40 times in the past 20 years.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the final half hour now of News 3 This Morning at 6:27 on this Monday, July 9th. Warm day already.
Warm day.
Yeah.
I bet Chris is outside sweating already out on the weather patio. Maybe we should bring you back in. Chris, how you doing out there?
It is a little warmer out here as opposed to previous mornings, though not that bad yet. I'm also standing in the shade, which is a large part of why. If I were in the sun, we'd probably have a totally different story. It is a warm morning that we do have out there. Beautiful sunrises have been seen pretty much all day long. 69 degrees for us right now here in Madison. La Crosse is at 71 degrees, 70 now in Camp Douglas. So everyone getting into the 60s and 70s at this point. By the time we get you into the afternoon, we'll see a high right around 88 degrees. Cloud cover coming in. That's a cold front pushing into the south and east. As that does so, though, before that, we will keep those dew points high, and that's going to mean that it will feel like the 90s at times today, low and mid 90s for a lot of us. So that sweat factor is going to be a thing as we get you into this afternoon. Traffic does continue to run smoothly for the most part. We do have a slowdown approaching Stoughton Road near the Beltline. Some additional slowdowns, rather, approaching Capitol Square and on Regent Street. But no major issues or delays across Dane County. Taking those side roads or main roads into the Beltline is taking you about your normal drive time this morning.
Good news. All right. Thank you so much, Chris. It's 6:29 right now. The president's going to announce his pick to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court, 8 o'clock tonight. And that could have an impact on future students at UW-Madison and other colleges and universities around the country.
That's because the Justice Department and President Trump are pushing for race-blind admissions. Our Josh Spreiter joins us live from campus with what that might mean for future students at Wisconsin's flagship university. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Justice Kennedy was the author of the Supreme Court's 2 most recent decisions upholding universities' rights to consider race in the college admissions process, but he's retiring at the end of the month. That nominee President Trump is set to name today will be crucial in shaping the future of our country's laws. While the court hasn't banned the use of race as a factor in college admissions, it has steadily narrowed the way schools can consider race in trying to diversify their student bodies. And with a conservative judge added to the court, that's expected to intensify even more. Meanwhile, practices here at UW-Madison aren't expected to change. Meredith McGlone, a spokeswoman for the UW-Madison, says the school's approach is consistent with the law and it's comprehensive, competitive, and selective for all levels of admission. She says the school takes into account a wide range of factors, including grades, standardized test scores, recommendations, extracurricular activities, leadership, and written statements, along with consideration for factors like race, ethnicity, and first generation in college. As for other UW schools, spokespeople with UW Stevens Point and UW Superior say that the new policies will not affect the way they run, and a spokeswoman with UW Milwaukee says her university is still studying the president's proposal, but it's still too premature to say anything more on that. Guys, back to you.
All right, something a lot of colleges, a lot of universities and families keeping an eye on. Our Josh Spreiter reporting live for us this morning. Thanks, Josh.
It's 6:30 right now. A Rock County judge will decide today if there is enough evidence to prosecute a Beloit woman on child neglect charges. 40-year-old Heather McCoy was arrested back in April after investigators say they found 8 kids underfed and living in filthy conditions at her home. She faces 1 felony charge, 5 misdemeanor charges of child abuse. Her husband, LaKedrick McCoy, he's also facing criminal charges in this matter. Rock County prosecutors say Heather McCoy had been reported to Child Protective Services 40 times in the past 20 years and had 6 other children taken away back in 2010. We'll have updates to this case on channel3000.com.
The man accused of sexually assaulting teenagers while volunteering at a middle school should be back in court today for an update on his case. 19-year-old Ellie Malik Medina Lopez is accused of sending nude photos to 11 and 12-year-old girls on Snapchat and asking them for sex. Staff at Wright Middle School notified district officials back in March before the allegations were brought to police. Medina Lopez faces a charge of first-degree sexual assault of a child under 13. If convicted, he could spend up to 60 years in prison.
A Janesville man arrested for sexual assault nearly 20 years after that alleged crimes back in court today. 54-year-old Kelly Baxter was arrested last year in a rape case dating back to 2000. Janesville officers say he broke into the home of a 78-year-old woman and sexually assaulted her. She has since died. It wasn't until last year that a DNA search reportedly matched Baxter to the crime scene. He has a motion hearing today in Rock County Court to dismiss a separate burglary charge. Jury selection on the sexual assault charge has been pushed back a couple of times. It is now scheduled for July 25th.
Officers in Sheboygan County will continue investigating a weekend plane crash today. Deputies say a privately owned plane flying from Washington Island was forced to land in a field around 8 Saturday night when the plane lost power midair. Neither of the two people in that plane were injured. 4 people in the Chicago area are recovering this morning after a medical helicopter crashed there along I-57 over the weekend. Around 9 last night, the pilot called Mayday and tried to make an emergency landing. 2 other crew members and a patient were on board at the time. The crew is doing okay this morning. The patient is in critical condition.
To politics now. We're about a month away from Wisconsin's August primary and finding out who's going to be the Democrat that challenges Governor Walker in November. 6 of the 8 Democratic candidates for governor answered questions from voters as part of a 2-hour forum yesterday in Reedsburg. They talked about roads, campaign finance laws, farms, eminent domain, and the deal to bring Foxconn to Wisconsin. Now, the latest Marquette Law School poll showed more than a third of Democratic primary voters here in Wisconsin still had not decided on a candidate. Those Democratic candidates are going to be at the Madison Labor Temple for a forum this coming Saturday. 6:33 right now. As of right now, this morning, all of Dane County's 19 monitored beaches are open after dealing with potentially toxic blue-green algae blooms for what seems like the last however many weeks.
For real, none of these have been open, or at least half a dozen or more have been closed recently. It's been a constant problem so far this summer. An event coming up later this week is hoping to educate more people about the problems that algae can cause. The Clean Lakes Alliance is talking about the issue Wednesday morning at the Edgewater Hotel as part of its monthly Yahara Lakes 101 series. An expert from UW-Madison will talk about the bacteria that causes that algae and what we do and don't know about it. For more information on that event, you can head to the Alliance's website.
So we know that the algae has been a problem for the Mad City ski team. So have the high waters. They got back on the water last night after a 3-week break. The algae delayed practice. The high water kept them off Lake Monona because there's been a no-wake order. The head of the team says it is the least amount of practice they can ever remember having during a Madison summer.
6:34 the time now. We're keeping an eye on Washington this morning ahead of President Trump's pick for the next U.S. Supreme Court justice. We'll take a look at how that choice will impact the balance of the court coming up in the morning sprint.
And we'll share a People Helping People story that you can get involved in. It's about a 4-year-old girl in Evansville who's helping others fight against cancer while she's dealing with that battle herself. That story's coming up on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back. We've been asking you to share your morning with us by sending us a photo. That's what Jennifer Harris did. She posted this photo on Facebook of a nice pool, nice little lake in Middleton. Bit of a small lake, I guess, but perfect day to be out there cooling off, enjoying that humid weather with some water nearby, right?
I would think so. Yeah. Thank
so.
you, Jennifer. We want to know what your morning looks like. Please take a picture, put it on our Facebook page or on Twitter or Instagram. Email Liam, myself, Danica with that hashtag MyNews3Morning. That's how we're able to find our favorites and show them off every morning right here on the program.
The time now is 6:38. An Evansville family helping their daughter battle neuroblastoma is finding a unique way to raise money for other kids diagnosed with cancer.
Back in March, you may remember we told you about 4-year-old Harlow Phillips and her cousin Logan Katzenmeyer. With the help of the entire Evansville community, Katzenmeyer and his classmate Kellen Sunnes raised more than $90,000 to help Harlow pay for new research at the American Family Children's Hospital. Now Harlow's dad's starting up a new fundraiser for BeatNB, which is an organization looking for a cure to neuroblastoma. It's a tumor cancer that affects kids. The Phillips family hopes to raise more than $200,000 for that research. So Harlow's dad's a contractor. He wants to build a home out of donated materials.
He has the supplies and labor ready to go, but he needs help paying off the lot. Today at 9, the family is having a groundbreaking at the site of the new home in Evansville. If you'd like to make a donation, you can visit beatnb.org/Harlow. Now, of that $90,000 Harlow's cousin and the Evansville community raised earlier this year, $50,000 is helping to pay for a new clinical trial for kids with refractory neuroblastoma. The American Family Children's Hospital and UW's Carbone Cancer Center launched that first-in-humans trial in the world last week. The study combines white blood cells from a donor, usually a parent, with an antibody that can target and destroy the tumor. To learn more, you can visit clinicaltrials.gov. A great way to give back. People helping people. I just love that story.
It's a terrific story.
All right, 6:40 your time now. We're looking at a really hot day today. The humidity making a return. Chris Reese is talking about how it's feeling like it's in the mid-90s today, along with the chance for some storms later tonight. His first alert forecast is up next.
First, though, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV, help celebrate their birthday right here on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back. You're taking a live look right now at the WISC Skycam, where the sun's just starting to peek out this morning. It's going to be a hot one. Chris is going to have your first alert forecast coming up in just a minute. Part of a major bike trail in Madison closes today for the next 6 weeks as the Capital City Trail approaches 20 years old now. Officials say it's time for some updates. 6.5 miles of that trail from just off Fish Hatchery Road northeast to Nob Hill will be blocked off starting later this morning. Construction there is going to update pavement, signs, and handicap accessibility. Now, this is phase 1 of 3 for the trail happening over the next couple of years. You can find alternate route information for those bikers on our website, channel3000.com.
Meanwhile, Dane County is offering thousands of dollars to towns, villages, and cities who help connect the expanding number of bike trails in our area. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says the Park and Ride program will provide grants to any community extending a bike trail. $500,000 worth of these grants are available. They could be used to pay for half of the costs of design, construction, and engineering. According to the Madison Metropolitan Planning Organization, there are more than 645 miles of bike trails in Dane County. If you want to apply for one of those grant applications, they can be due by October 1st. Not a bad day, Chris Reese, to get out on a bike if you can do it, especially in the morning.
That's right, not a bad day. This morning, not too shabby. It's actually quite comfortable, but we do have winds out of the south right now, and these will be turning southwesterly as we go through the day. That eventually is going to mean a warming wind, especially into the afternoon. Check this out. Already 8 degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago here in Madison, and we are going to continue to see things heat on up. Now, we do have a beautiful sky out there. No clouds even to see in this shot as of now. 69 degrees. Dew points, though, in the low 70s. And as we watch, or low 60s rather, as we watch these dew points get higher into the 60s and eventually into the low 70s, that does mean it will continue to feel even warmer. La Crosse in the low 70s right now at 71 degrees. 70 at Camp Douglas as well. As I mentioned, we're at 69 for us here in Madison. Here's how the winds are going to change throughout the day. As we get you further into the late morning and early afternoon, we're going to see a very strong southwest wind take over. Check out what's happening in the north. You see this northwesterly wind coming into the picture. That is actually the cold front sinking southward. It will continue to do so as we go throughout the day. But until we get that northwesterly wind, we're pulling in all of the higher moisture from the south and west. These dew points will continue to increase into the afternoon. In fact, we will likely see dew points making it all the way into the low 70s. So yes, it's going to be much warmer today. As you step outside, you're going to be able to feel the weight of that air as well. Here's how things will play out in terms of sky conditions. You'll notice clouds thickening up in the northwest sky into the early afternoon. Those will move on through after we see that high of 88 degrees. We can't rule out a shower or a thunderstorm during this time, but eventually we'll see clearing skies and temperatures in the mid-60s by tomorrow. But this dome of high pressure moving in over the northern Great Lakes region will create the nice weather that we'll have for the middle of the week. Eventually that moving off to the east, and then we get in on a return flow of more heat and the humidity. That means over the next 10 days, of course, we're going to be watching these temperatures come right back up with additional humidity into the picture as well. In fact, we are talking upper 80s by Friday, but until then, Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be some amazing midweek days. Temperatures in the low 80s with low humidity for your Tuesday as well. There's a rain chance Thursday night into Friday. Then by next weekend, another cold front will come through. So this time next week, should the forecast hold, will actually be not too shabby. We'll see temperatures in the low 80s with low humidity as well. Now, if you're going to be out walking your dog today, take a look at Sammy and Pansy. They are here in Madison. It will be steamy out there. Temperatures in the upper 80s with that humidity coming up as well.
Tongue's already out.
I was going to say, Pansy already needs a drink.
I know. I was like, he knows the forecast or something. I think he's thinking about it.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
Chris. The morning sprint is up next here on News 3 this morning. But first, here's Gail King with what's coming up on CBS this morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're in Thailand with the major overnight developments from the ongoing rescue operation to free that soccer team. And John Legend joins us with the expansion of the Global Citizens Festival, how the event that brings together musicians and activists is reaching a whole new audience. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.
6:51 the time now for the morning sprint. Chris says it's going to be another warm, humid day, but a few showers are headed our way later in the week.
And Josh Freider's reporting on how the White House's decision to take race out of the admissions process could impact future Badgers. But we start in Washington, where the president will announce his pick to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy tonight on the U.S. Supreme Court. It's a decision that could shape the balance of the court for a generation. CBS News says there are 4 candidates to replace Justice Kennedy, all of them young conservatives who are all federal appellate court judges right now. We'll carry the president's announcement on News 3 and on channel3000.com at 8 o'clock tonight.
The biggest UW system school says the president's call for race-blind college admissions won't change practices for them. President Trump announced his plans to roll back Obama-era guidelines for universities to consider race in the admissions process last week. The president wants colleges to use race-blind admission standards, but those guidelines aren't legally binding. Meredith McGlone, a spokeswoman for UW-Madison, says the school's approach is consistent with the law. She emphasizes that the university takes into account a wide range of factors and does not admit students on race alone.
Thank you, Josh. We are just learning this morning a 6th and 7th child have now been rescued from that cave in Thailand where a youth soccer team has been trapped for the last couple of weeks. Emergency workers were able to get those remaining 3 boys out safely today. Another 4 were rescued yesterday. Phase 2 of that mission is still underway right now. There are only 5 boys left there, plus their coach. They're still stuck inside. CBS News is going to have live coverage from Thailand coming up just after 7 o'clock.
There is a deadline tonight to apply for a Dane County Board of Supervisors seat that covers part of Madison. People who live on the southwest side in that area have until 4:30 tonight to submit nomination papers to the county board chair. Then they can talk about their qualifications at a public hearing tomorrow. The board's pick will only fill that seat temporarily, though, until the next spring election in April.
We're about a month away from Wisconsin's August primary and finding out who the Democrat's going to be challenging Governor Walker in November. A number of those 8 candidates were in Reedsburg for a forum on Sunday. The latest Marquette Law School poll showed more than a third of Democratic primary voters still hadn't decided on a candidate. The Democratic candidates are going to be at the Madison Labor Temple for a forum this coming Saturday.
We have had a lot of sunshine out there today, continuing to track that sunshine right now. A gorgeous morning out there. It's going to be steamy, though, especially into the afternoon. We'll see highs right around 88 degrees. We can't rule out an isolated shower or 2 into the afternoon as a cold front comes through. Until then, dew points going all the way up into the low 70s, meaning it's going to be very sticky. Heat indices into the low and mid 90s.
All right, thanks, Chris. A Dane County inmate is still missing from jail this morning. Deputies say 28-year-old Pedro Aviles Garcia walked away from his jail diversion program where he's serving a sentence for drunk driving. Garcia is from Fitchburg, so officers think he might be in that area. Anyone with information is asked to call 911.
Rock County judge is going to decide today if there's enough evidence to prosecute a Beloit woman on child abuse and neglect charges. 40-year-old Heather McCoy was arrested back in April after investigators say they found 8 kids underfed living in filthy conditions at her home. Rock County prosecutors say Heather McCoy had been reported to Child Protective Services 40 times in the past 20 years and had 6 other children taken away back in 2010. Her husband, Lakedrick McCoy, is also facing criminal charges.
1 person is dead and another in the hospital this morning after a rollover crash in Rock County. Deputies say a 48-year-old man hit a concrete guardrail there, overcorrected, and then rolled over last night on the Highway 26 bypass in Milton. A 47-year-old woman was thrown from his car. She died at the scene. The driver is in the hospital this morning, doing okay. The crash is still under investigation.
4 people in the Chicago area are in the hospital this morning after a medical helicopter crashed along Interstate 57 around 7 o'clock last night. The pilot called for help to report a problem with the helicopter before making an emergency landing on the interstate. 2 other crew members and a patient were on board at the time. The crew's doing okay this morning. The patient remains in critical condition.
Starbucks is about to be the first worldwide restaurant to ban plastic straws from all of its stores. The company says it'll start using a strawless lid at 8,000 stores in the U.S. and Canada for its cold drinks, which make up half of the drinks sold there. The switch will get rid of some billion plastic straws a year. It's going to happen over the next 2 years.
Back in Madison, a century-old building on the city's east side could be added to the National Register of Historic Places. The city's Landmarks Commission is going to talk about nominating the Kluter & Company Wholesale Grocery Warehouse, which is at the corner of East Wash and South Patterson Street, for the National Register at its meeting tonight. Current plans call for that warehouse to be renovated as part of continued development along East Wash.
Rent prices in Madison are on the rise, up about 2% just this month. The real estate data firm Yardi Matrix reports the national average to rent an apartment is now at an all-time high of more than $1,400. Here in Madison, the average one-bedroom costs just over $1,000 a month. Experts say that's a sign of a growing economy.
We have a first alert traffic note. If you're in Rock County near Edgerton this morning, crews are going to be building a new ramp off of Highway 59 to get on the interstate southbound, so going toward Janesville and Beloit. This is happening near Milton and Newville. For the next 3 weeks, that ramp's going to be closed. Drivers are being detoured to exit 160, so you'll have to turn around there to go south on the interstate. All right, it is 6:56 right now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim for a final look at traffic. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, starting to pick up on the westbound side of the Beltline. A few brake lights are showing up between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. That's going to add a couple minutes to your drive. Inbound John Olin, you're getting busier near the Rimrock and Olin Avenue intersections. That's going to add a few minutes into the downtown area. But other main routes heading into the city, including on the interstate, are cruising along at the posted speeds right now with no crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks so much, Josh. Appreciate it.
All right, 70 degrees right now here in Madison, so we are starting to warm up already. As we go through the rest of the day, we will see those temperatures top out right around 88 degrees. A cold front comes through overnight, so we'll see those lows falling into the 60s. And then tomorrow, remaining on the cooler side with less humidity, but still seeing temperatures into the lower 80s, though we will spike back up towards the end of the week. So we'll want to enjoy this midweek sunshine and low humidity while we have it before the weekend gets steamy yet again.
Good advice. Thank you, Chris.
We're going to keep watching that forecast, plus the breaking news out of Thailand, where a 6th and 7th child have been saved. Stay with us for CBS This Morning.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.